I'd like to show you all how to run a WDL workflow. And this lists all the requirements that you'll need to run a WDL workflow. These dependencies are Java 8, Get, and Docker. I've listed the commands to install these in Ubuntu. The first steps we'll do is creating this directory structure. We'll create our main directory called gatk-workflows, and that will hold these other directories called tools. And within tools, we'll have cromwell.jar, which is our executable that will run our WDL workflow. We'll also have this directory called inputs, and that's where we'll hold the input for our workflow. And lastly, we'll have this directory called seq-format-validation. This is actually a Get repo that we'll clone, which will hold the following workflow called validate-bam.wdl. And it's a simple WDL that will validate this BAM file. Along with this WDL, there will be an input JSON that we'll use to run this workflow. All right, so let's get started in creating this directory structure. I'm in my home directory. Make directory called tools. Make directory called inputs. And lastly, I'll clone this repo. I have listed the links for cloning the repo here, so I'll use this link. And now I have my seq-format-validation repo, and inside that directly, I'll have my validate-bam WDL, my validate-bam input.json. So we also need to get our input file and our cromwell executable. For our cromwell, I'll just copy this. Go to tools and paste that in. And while that downloads, I'll copy the input. I'm going to go back to my home directory. Go into my inputs file. Inputs directory. And I'll paste that command to download the input. There it is. All right. At this point, I should have Cromwell downloaded under tools, my input downloaded in inputs, and my workflows under seq-format-validation and its input JSON. Next thing we need to do is edit our input path and disk size in the input JSON file. So we'll use this input JSON to indicate where our input is on our computer. So let's edit that file. So here's our input JSON. Currently it's set to this path, which is not the case for us for the moment. So we'll just delete that and set the correct directory. The other thing I want to change is the disk size. Changing this because the file that we'll be validating is super small, so we don't need 100 gigs. So I'll just write and exit out of here. We've added the input path, added the disk size. Next step is to run our workflow. I've listed the command for that here. And in this command, we're using Java to execute Cromwell. And here are Cromwell's parameters, telling Cromwell to run the following workflow. Validate-bam.wdl, and using the input parameter to indicate where our input JSON is. And that's it. So I'm just going to copy this. I'll need to change directories to the folder containing the workflow. So I'll do that and paste that command and press enter. So at this point, Cromwell is starting up. It's doing whatever it needs to do to run our widow workflow. Looks like it's completed. Here it tells us the final outputs. It actually gives us the directory of where our output is. So if I copy that, go down to the bottom and cat what's inside our output, and it says no errors found, meaning the workflow ran over the na12878.bam input and it found no errors. And that's pretty much it. If you have any questions or you have any suggestions on what else I could add, go ahead and write a comment and I'll create another video.